I'm so excited to be doing this video today. I'm reviewing the latest entry into the SpongeBob video game series, Titans of the Tide. Before we dive in, I want to thank THQ Nordic and the team at Lurkit for providing me an early copy of the game, which has made this possible. So with that being said, let's get into it. Starting off with the narrative and how it gets going, the game kicks off with SpongeBob in his everyday life at work when the Flying Dutchman decides to visit the Krusty Krab. Followed several unthinkable hours later by King Neptune, who instantly cuts to the front of the line and Mr. Krabs practically dropping to his knees to serve him. The Flying Dutchman and King Neptune get into a heated argument over Neptune cutting in line, which is quite on brand for a major plot point in a SpongeBob game. After this, the Flying Dutchman unleashes his anger in an explosion, which sees the control switch over to Patrick, who then has to navigate through the newly destroyed Bikini Bottom just in order to get to the Krusty Krab. As a quick note, the way we get to control Patrick in this game is hands down the best handling of Patrick in any SpongeBob game to date, and his new moves are perfectly suited for his character. Shortly after gaining control of Patrick, you end up at the Krusty Krab where he's taken on board the floating patty, which is the game's hub. From there, you get instructed to head to Goldfish Island near Goo Lagoon, which is a small island where it's under management of Captain Goldie, where your main task is to locate this treasure left behind, of course spearheaded by Mr. Krabs' lust for any monetary gain. After you locate the treasure chest, which doesn't contain real gold, you venture deeper into the depths of the island and you fight a boss left behind by the Flying Dutchman. And with the first part of Goldfish Island, it's more of a test level where you get to try out all the basic abilities and warm yourself up for the following levels, which to be honest that felt like a really good call, as the moves you learn so early on become such a necessity in the second level and even later parts of the game. After the first level, you then speak with Plankton, who has been secretly working on a portal machine in the engine room of the ship, where you can do platforming challenges, which seem to be the gateway for some future DLCs like the Plankton DLC and the DLC that coincides with the soon-to-be released movie, Search for SquarePants. The second level, Neptune's Palace, really gets the story going, and this is where I started to get really excited in the story. The reason for heading to Neptune's Palace is just to forewarn him of the Flying Dutchman's arrival, which, to be honest, it doesn't seem he actually listens to until he actually turns up. And I have to admit, going kind of away from the story, I spent quite some time figuring out what goes where and where I had to go to progress, but it wasn't an annoying level of figuring out things constantly. So going through Neptune's Palace, it's quite puzzling, but to a satisfying level. It's not annoying, it's just really, really intriguing to find out exactly what goes where. And also within the level, it gives you a great opportunity to hone in on the character's abilities, of course a key part in the game. This level also brings back the bubble throw move from Cosmic Shake, really nicely refined, and also includes a new clicking animation when you pop a bubble. Looking back, it was really a nice level, and such a great launch point for the game's story to really get going. Now, heading into the third level, Atlantis City, it sees you go through the catacombs under the palace and the city outside. With more platforming, rock sliding courses and sliding, this hybrid of the level being quite prominent in the platforming and rock sliding is a nice mix, as the level to me feels like a really nice extension of the previous level, but with its own identity. Near the start in the catacombs, you find Madame Cassandra, the antagonist from Cosmic Shake, imprisoned. To progress further, you have to free her from the cage she's in, and she helps you find a way out of the catacombs. This level has a nice portion of plot value, where you complete a few side quests and then get through the King Neptune statue boss fight at the end. Including a level that was formatted in such a way was a really good move, and it was very nicely pulled off. It almost feels like I said before, like a straight continuation of the second level, and personally speaking, it's one of my favourite levels in terms of visuals and music, as this level is really meant to represent the chaos just created by the Flying Dutchman and King Neptune. The team really nailed the art to music translation so incredibly well, but this definitely isn't the best level so far. Now the fourth level, Jellyfish Fields, finally takes a jab at a modern rendition of Jellyfish Fields. Straight away, the music is the first noticeable thing, with its direct callback to the original Battle for Bikini Bottom. Take a listen. This callback just makes the inner child inside me so incredibly happy that after 22 years, this so well-known track is making its comeback in the series. Now focusing on the actual level, it builds heavily off of the Hibernation Sandy from the show, and uses that as the premise. After the flying patty takes some damage after Atlantis City, SpongeBob, Patrick and Sandy are thrown off of the side into Jellyfish Fields, and straight away, the game makes it heavily apparent that something isn't right, as the entire landscape is covered in ice and snow. When I first saw this level in the trailer released not too long ago, I really thought this level was just going to be some filler, but it really had my mind going, oh, where do I go next and where am I? How do I do things? You know, it was such a good level, and it was quite adventurous as well. And I think all in all, this level took me about 45 minutes to get through, so it wasn't just one of those short filler levels that's meant to kind of just be there for the sake of it. It was a really well crafted level, and I'm so happy with how Jellyfish Fields has been translated into a modern game. Of course, going to the Wild West Jellyfish Fields from Cosmic Shake, that was meant to be an old-timey rendition of Jellyfish Fields, but showing a modern-day Jellyfish Fields in such a light was such a nice thing to see. And with this level, there were quite a few sections as well, so you have the actual field at the start, then you have kind of a cliff section in the middle which is covered in ice, and then at the end you get to the mountain peak to finally fight Hibernation Sandy. And out of the 3 existing boss fights so far, so the one in Goldfish Island, the one in the Poseidome in Atlantis City, and then this one here, I think it's my more favourite one so far, just because it feels like there's more of a variety of things to do within the boss fight just at this time. I won't be discussing the final boss fight, the actual conclusion to the game, as that's something you should be doing, so I don't want to spoil that for you. But now we're nearing closer to the finale, the 5th and final level is a very climactic end to the game, and it sees you go through an almost fully destroyed Bikini Bottom. With the help of Plankton's portal machine, you slide and platform your way through the distorted versions of previous levels just to reach the end goal, the Fry Cook Museum. With the level being opened with the French narrator saying,
"The thrilling conclusion to our story,"
and the title theme being played as the level's theme, it really gives off a Red Dead Redemption vibe where the final level is named after the game kind of thing, so it kind of really indicates that you're so incredibly close to the end that you can almost feel it. All throughout my first playthrough of this level, I was just thinking to myself, oh wow, this is the final level, how is it going to end? And I've genuinely not been more excited for a game's finale for a while, and let me just say, this definitely tops the Cosmic Shake ending by a long shot. Like I said, I won't spoil the ending, but I really do think it's a satisfying conclusion to the game. Now with the game itself, it did to me feel just a little bit shorter than the previous few games, but the quality is the best we've seen in a SpongeBob game to date. So quality over quantity, I strongly believe that is the way to go. And now that we've gone over the general plot, I just want to discuss other things like the design, references and the music in the game. So starting things off, the art style for this is what you would expect of modern SpongeBob, but it really takes advantage of it with its heavily improved animations, lighting and overall smoothness. I think the game is less saturated than what we've come to expect, and this is a really nice change. The game doesn't feel bland either with colour, so the perfect balance has been achieved in all levels. Not once did I think, oh wow, this is too bright, or oh, I've got to turn the brightness up to see where I'm going. Whether it's the nice colours of Goldfish Island, or the dark colours of Atlantis City, or the final level, the balance is almost perfect. Details have been refined greatly as well, whether it's just general objects you interact with or even the environment you walk past. An example I want to bring up is the neon lights in Atlantis City. I absolutely love how these are displayed throughout the level, and it just makes me feel like I'm going through a pinball machine. Now, this game is filled with lots of references and goes above and beyond to deliver a high level of fan service for old and new fans. The first obvious reference is Cassandra from Cosmic Shake, who of course you find in Neptune's catacombs locked up. Just before this, you even find the magic bubble wand from the same game, which allows you to throw bubbles in the same way. Next off, there are smaller cameos like Mindy from the original 2003 movie, and even the chocolate guy called Tom.
Chocolate! Hey, what are you doing in there?
I ate some chocolate.
It's great as this game can easily slot these references in, but it doesn't rely on it to hold the story up, which is just a great balance. And also, replayability is something present here too. After finishing the game, you're able to go into the pause menu and select any outstanding quests, whether it's finding Spot, Plankton's pet, in Atlantis City, gathering Sandy's clothes back after the events of Jellyfish Fields, or even collecting all 10 secret TVs hidden in the game, which share the Hoff's wisdom. I feel a great sense of magnetism drawing me back to the game even after the story's done, which for me is usually hard to come by. And as I'm saying this right now, I've not actually 100%ed the game, so even after this review goes out and the game's out publicly, I'm going to start from scratch and I'm going to do a 100% run through, so I'm really looking forward to that as well. Going on to the music, it's composed by the same studio who did the last game, and the music in this game has taken a really nice approach and has unique tracks for each level. The opening tutorial level has a nice upbeat track that definitely makes you feel like you can learn the ropes at your own pace, but it also hides any indication of the events that are soon to follow. Goldfish Island has a nice dynamic track that changes just based on how far you're into the island. Neptune's Palace has a very imperial sounding score, with elements of spookiness sprinkled in everywhere, almost foreshadowing the events that follow this level. Atlantis City has music that's more of a slower and quite spooky feel, signifying a deep aftermath of the events that have just taken place. But at the same time, it gives off a sense of urgency of getting out of there as soon as possible, while maintaining that royal sounding overlay, which is the main underlying theme present. Next off, Jellyfish Fields' music gives off that quite frigid feeling from the get-go, while also maintaining that iconic Jellyfish Fields sound. It sounds soothing, but at the same time has a sense of danger just hidden beneath the icy theme. And one of the final pieces would be the Bikini Bottom theme used in the final level, which is actually the title screen theme. This theme perfectly conveys that this is the final stage and that you need to get to the Fry Cook Museum, or it's game over. As a nice mention, the boss fight tracks for this game are all the same track, just with alterations that fit the track for the level. Usually this approach would be seen as lazy, but I really appreciate the slight differences that make these tracks unique, and the underlying boss fight track is really good, so I can see why it was reused in such a way. I absolutely love the slide themes as well, as the instruments change based on who you play as, but it's so significant that of course you get quite a trombone-y feel if you're playing as Patrick, and a more of an electronical riff if you're playing as SpongeBob, and it's just such a nice variation, and I love the slide theme in this game regardless. It's such a nice tune, and it just works so incredibly well. All in all, this game has a really solid soundtrack and is definitely worth the purchase on Steam when the tracks release. As an extra side note on the music, I just want to mention that the game has one recurring theme throughout the entire game, from the first level into the final boss fight. Goldfish Island's track carries a particular leitmotif, lurking beneath that's heard throughout the entire game, and I just want to show it off here so you guys know what I'm talking about. Another thing I want to mention just before we end things off is that the game's sound effects are really cool as well, nice step up from Cosmic Shake. It does include some reworked sound effects from the previous games, but also at the same time, the original sound effects used for the game, like just navigating the menu or doing your moves. I think it's so nice and really satisfying as well. So when you're playing the game, if you just keep an ear out and pay more attention to the sounds than you would, you'll really appreciate the craftsmanship that's gone into the music and the sound effects. And now we're at the end of this review. I just want to say, if I had to describe this game in one word, the word I would use is masterpiece. It plays well, it has a good original story, does great fan service, and it just makes me smile. It's as simple as that. And although the game was given to me for free, I'm not obligated to sing its songs of praise, and as a matter of fact, I should be providing constructive feedback wherever possible. However, I've just had such a fun experience with this game that I can't trash talk it or haven't found anything game breaking. Sure, I've experienced a few minor bugs here and there, but bear in mind I've been playing on the pre-release version, so any of my concerns are most likely addressed now. And as part of the review copy, it came with a little document outlining all the current issues, which was really good for transparency and setting expectations. And as I say this, I was so fortunate to be invited to a pre-release event on the 13th of November, where lots of content creators turned up, and I was able to play the day release version, which did address and, from what I saw, fixed a lot of the issues that I ran into. So with that, I won't mention what they are, because it seems they've been fixed. And I actually got the opportunity to play the PC version on an actual PC, and also via the Steam Deck, so both experiences were really good. And at the same time, that's my first time playing on a Steam Deck as well. So it was a really nice experience to acclimatise to that environment. But all in all, I had such a fun time at this pre-launch event. And the senior producer, Martin Crouch, was there as well. So I was able to get a nice picture with him. He was such a nice guy, and he was just telling me a few bits about the game and the music as well. So to be able to go from just talking about the game on YouTube to being invited to an event just to kind of discuss the game as well, that was such a surreal thing to come to fruition, and I just couldn't believe it. I think my jaw dropped when I saw him come through in his SpongeBob suit, and I was at a loss for words that he was actually turning up to an event like that. So I'm really, really pleased with how nice this community is, and also how nice THQ Nordic are for arranging this as well. I was so happy that they were able to do that. The experience I've had with not just this game but also everything in between has just been nothing short of amazing. And to finally wrap the review up, if you're looking at this game and you're thinking, oh, do I want to buy it? Do I want to give it a miss? I think 100% it is worth the purchase. And going from that, I know I've said earlier, I've got the game for free. There is another console that I'm going to be buying it on anyways, because I don't have a review copy for that. I can't expect to get a review copy for every single thing I own. So I'm, really grateful for the PC copy, but I'm definitely going to cop it on another console. But apart from that, thank you guys so much for watching. It does mean the world to me, and I'll see you all in the next one.